Hi guys, Pan-tastique here today, back with the second episode in this new mini-series. Last episode we talked about my webcomic Spark in the Defense 5, link in the description and the pinned comment if you haven't checked it out yet, and the story so far. And today I want to talk a bit more about the main cast, so without further ado, run the intro and let's get into it. I hope you guys like that intro because it's your next hint for the big reveal coming next week, but more on that at the end of the video. Spark in the Defense 5 has been running for 3.5 years now, and so far 10 out of 12 characters that I consider to be part of the core cast have been at the very least introduced. Today we will be looking at the most important 6 of those 12 characters. Of course, we're starting off with James Riverdale. Meet James, the main hero of our story, quite literally. At the start of the comic, he's just 15 years old, almost half a decade younger than his creator, even though we were the same age when he was first created in 2012. James has ADD, which means attention deficit disorder. James has trouble organizing and keeping track of time, especially when he's focused on doing something he loves, which is also something he has in common with his creator. He's headstrong and bad at following instructions, but he'll walk through fire if it means helping those whom he loves. As the Spark, he intends to go after Viper and find out what happened to his father. James's powers involve super speed, invisibility, and flight, but this will change later on in the story. Samira Riverdale. Samira is James's older sister. Her secret identity is named the Ebony Assassin. James has no idea that the Ebony Assassin is his sister right now, but spoiler alert, he will find out before chapter 5 ends. Samira is somewhat more level-headed than her brother. She does, however, have some issues relinquishing control over him and trusting him, likely because her father disappeared doing the exact same thing James is doing now, and she wants to make sure that the same thing doesn't happen to him. Chapter 5 will go a bit deeper into Samira's history and how she, unlike James, already seemed aware of her father's identity before the start of the series. And she herself doesn't have any powers, but she has been trained in martial arts. Bella Garcia. Bella is one of the 3 teenagers that was quote-unquote chosen by Viper to test out the Surf serum and how it reacts if it's allowed to develop along with a young host. She and Samira are best friends, and from the first fight at the school grounds, they seem to have recognized each other. And here's a little fun fact, Bella was actually the first bi character I ever wrote. She's bubbly and has a cheerful personality, but can get very sassy and snappy when upset, and she does have a bit of a bad temper. Bella's role will grow in chapter 5, and her powers involve the creation of portals, teleportation, and telekinesis. Antonio Bouchard. Antonio is what you call the deter-agonist for the duration of the first half of the webcomic. He and James have some past together, which will be further explored in later plotlines, although this relationship is mostly based on pre-existing content showing their relationship. Of course, this comic should be able to stand on its own, which means I do have some more writing to do, but it'll work out. Antonio has to sacrifice his eyesight for an enhanced sense of smell and hearing, as well as super strength. His speed has increased, but he's nowhere near as fast as James. The lighter it is outside, the less he is able to see, and that's why he wears his dark sunglasses, so he's able to see at least a little bit while he's outside. He is ill-tempered, rude, and brash on the outside, but the future has a kinder side of him in store. It's also established that Antonio loves junk food and has a crush on Samira. And a little fun fact about Antonio is probably that if you have read the webcomic, you would realize that it is not for kids because there is profanity and violence in the comic, and out of all the main characters, Antonio swears by far the most. It's not has-been hotel levels of profanity, but the occasional fuck and oh shit, you know? Normal people profanity. Thomas Bennett. Thomas is the last of the Defense 5. His mother is an American and his father is English, although his mother nowadays lives in the UK, while Thomas and his father reside in the US. In both the main and this alternate universe, there is a story to explain the reason as to why, but that is not the focus of Swiftspark and the Defense 5's main comic. His parents don't actually appear in this story, so Thomas is a very sarcastic and cynical guy when you first meet him. He likes to crack a lot of jokes and challenge authority at every chance he gets, and his confidence is actually mostly for show. He easily breaks under pressure and will yell and scream at people when things don't go his way, kind of like a teenager throwing a tantrum. Normal teenager stuff. He has a soft spot for the women in his life. Although he somewhat resents his mother for leaving him, he still cares deeply for her and will always answer her whenever she calls. And he was also Antonio's best friend in high school. Thomas has powers related to mind reading, mind controlling, and creating illusions. Anna Coloni. Anna is James's best friend and they have been close since kindergarten. She dreams of joining the military like her father, with a career as a news reporter or private investigator afterwards. She knows what she wants and whenever she wants it, but at the same time she's level-headed and doesn't rush into things blindly. Unlike James, Anna is very good at math. She also runs a school newspaper and is very business savvy going about it. Personally, I could see Anna run her own newspaper someday. And James thinks that she's a complete idiot regarding his secret identity, but let's talk about that in the future. These are the main 6 teenagers that the comic runs around. Of course, there's the adults that I didn't talk about: Martin, Daniel, Cheyenne, Angelo, and some more mystery characters, but they haven't really appeared in the comic yet, or at all, like the mystery ones. At least not for more than just a handful of scenes, so therefore I feel like it's best to save them for a future video. Last week's video was quite long, so I figured that today we could do with a little bit less. I still hope you enjoyed watching nonetheless, and maybe you learned a little bit more about these characters, and maybe last week's video wasn't enough to convince you to go read the comic, and this video just did. In which case, you're very welcome to do so. Follow the links in the description down below. There is 3 platforms for you to choose from, and there might be more coming very soon. Remember that Tumblr blog that I mentioned I gave up on? Well, I'm considering restarting it, but with a slightly different purpose. The comic is completely free to read, so please do check it out if you enjoyed this video at all. And please stay tuned for next week, because it's my birthday on August 2nd, which also means it's time for the big announcement. I can't wait any longer. We have to do this now. It's now or never, guys. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Hi guys, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, give it a like. If you hated it, leave a dislike. YouTube loves both. And if you have something on your mind, leave a comment. Don't forget to check out my shop or my Etsy. All my art is available for you to purchase there. Or consider donating to my Patreon. That's all for now. See you next time.